Generally, there is no assumption of the independent and dependent variable. Here we cannot do for assumption. So if there is any price and demand relation, then we are trying to go for study. A regression coefficient indicates the value by which one variable change per unit of change in the other variable. So x minus x bar is equal to a coefficient standard deviation x divided by standard deviation of y. So into a y minus y bar. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to one and all. I am Natesh, lecturer in commerce, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, MYSURU, the Temple of Excellence. We are in the unit for section 6, third semester business statistics BCom. So under correlation and regression chapter, 4th chapter. So and today my agenda, the difference between correlation and regression. Okay, so which is the regression, which is completely depend on the correlation, and the regression coefficient what we are exactly identify here. So the first one, the difference under correlation, it is a procedure regression analysis. Okay, further if you want to do for regression, which is completely depending on the correlation. So correlation, it succeed the correlation analysis. Unless the correlation is not succeed, so you cannot do for regression. Regression, which is referring for moving forward or going back. Okay, so next it study the closeness between the two variables. The correlation is always try to study the degree or direction. Okay, so in this case for regression, it study the closeness between the two variables, but also estimate the value. So anyway, if you try to study correlation and regression, always we are depending on the bivariate. So two variables is very important. So in this case, we are studying only for the closeness, but here we are trying to predict the future value. Okay, estimate the value. So in case of correlation, it is merely a tool for ascertaining the degree and nature of relation. Here we are trying to find out the degree and nature of relationship. Okay, but in the regression, it is also tool for studying the degree and nature, but also studying the cause and effect. Why? The reason, the cause and effect, how it is connected to the two variables. And the fourth one, the relationship may be purely chance and it may not be have practical relevance. So here the relationship will be purely chances. Either the correlation which is not correlated, okay, which is we can say nonsense correlation. There are different types of correlation we identify. There is something chance we are identified here. But in case of the relationship is not chance, okay, chance, and it is a practical relevance, okay, which is not chance exactly, which is a practical relevance. We are trying to go for estimating or predicting. But next, fifth one, generally there is no assumption of the independent and dependent variable. Here we cannot do for assumption. So if there is any price and demand relation, then we are trying to go for study. But in case of regression, there is an assumption and independence and dependent or variable. Assumption basis only we are trying to go for prediction. Okay, so for this year sales, what will be the next year sales, I can predict using a regression analysis. If you know the x and y value, there are two constant a and b value, so easily we can predict. So you know the equation is very simple. Y is equal to a plus bx. Okay, so based on the equation, we are trying to generate two equations. So in this case, and last one, it is two-way average of relation, two-way average x and y, because average basis also we are trying to do for the correlation. But regression, it is a directional relationship with the cause and effect. The direction which is going for positive direction or negative direction, we will find out the cause and effect. And here the regression coefficient, exactly the coefficient which is giving for a b value, a constant value, a b constant value. So with the help of equations only we are trying to solve the regression analysis. So of course we need to depend on the a value and b value. So the coefficient in the regression equation, discuss about the parameters what we identify. B is a regression coefficient that indicate the degree and the direction of change in the dependent variable with respect to A. Okay, change in the independent variable, because the A and B is a constant value, so which is applicable for all the year. Okay, we need to compare. Okay, when we at the time of prediction, the A and B coefficient value is very important. The equation, it's very important. A regression coefficient indicate the value by which one variable change for unit of change in the other variable. If one variable change, the unit value also will be changed. Okay. So for two correlated series like x and y, okay, for example, x is a dependent on y, okay, or y is dependent on x. Okay, this one is your last section I have explained, which is related to x and y basis two regression line we are generating. So x is depending on y is depending on x. So now which is a independent means what? This one is independent and this one is independent. Now if you try to go for dependent and independent, so x depend on y. Now y is a independent. Y depend on x. Now x is a independent. So in this case, okay, the coefficient, there will be two regression coefficient. The regression coefficient of y on x, so which is symbol we are writing bxy, because y on x means y is going for last, would be shown in the value of by y variable would be very compared to the unit change in the x variable. So which is a statement whatever it is given. So if you try to solve the problem, you will get more clarity. Okay, so that's what the bx, which is related to the coefficient value, how to find out. So there is a formula to find out this one. And the regression coefficient, similarly the regression coefficient x on y. So how we y on x we return bxy, and x on y we have specified byx. Okay, that is the coefficient value. So x on y, okay, when the coefficient value we are writing bxy, okay, first we are writing, and for example y on x we are writing bxy. Okay, so this is your coefficient value. At the time of problem solving, you need to depend on this value. So that is very important. Would give the value by which x variable would vary for the comparing to unit change in the value y variable, because everything is one is depending on another. So x is dependent or independent, so we have to decide here. So this means that two regression coefficient indicate the slope of the regression line. Okay, the regression line, so either it is going for example the graph like this going, or which is going for the downward slope. So whatever the based on the data only we can decide. So here some important property of regression coefficient are: the first one, the product of two regression coefficient is equal to coefficient of determination. Product means always you need to multiply. Okay, so we know there are x on y and y on x. Okay, there are two equations or coefficient value. This is your nothing but your product value. So pi to the power of square, so which is a product we are getting. Okay, so if you try to find out bxy, so which is nothing but pi, or you can use gamma. Okay, standard deviation y divided by standard deviation of x. So whenever the standard b of x, y, first x is coming, which is going for the denominator, and next y is going for the numerator, and the same situation here. So byx, y is first, that's what which is going down. Okay, denominator. Okay, byx, which is a standard deviation x, is going for the numerator. Okay, so the square root of the two regression coefficient is coefficient of the, okay, because the standard deviation base when we are try to write, so inside this standard root we are try to take the multiplication, which is nothing but your correlation regression we are getting. Okay, both the regression coefficient must be in the same sign, plus or minus. Okay, either positive or negative. Now fourth property, if one of the regression coefficient is greater than unity, unit means 1, greater than means we are writing like this. Okay, so the other you must be less than unit 1. Okay, we are writing less than 1. Okay, because always the correlation or regression which is always lying -1 to +1. Okay, that's what. Okay, that is the product of the two coefficient is equal. If you are getting the product, what we are getting after multiply is equal, Okay, that means pi square or pi square, which mean the equal to the or less than 1. Okay, last property, the regression coefficient are independent of the change in the origin, because the regression is always giving for the origin value, that means going back value. Okay, so but not change in the scale, there is no changes in the scale. So without resorting the normal equation, we can estimate the regression coefficient and also regression line through the following equation, because we know x on y and y on x. There are two separately I have specified. Here the regression equation y on x. So at the time of y on x, from the y series we are trying to find out the mean value. So that is y minus y bar. Okay. So is equal to pi, which is nothing but your standard coefficient value. So into, when you are writing y first time, okay, then numerator you need to write, okay, standard deviation of y. Okay, divided by standard deviation of x. You must remember this formula. So instead of writing, okay, so here we are writing x minus y, right? So bxy. So in this case, okay, so into my x minus x bar. From the x series we need to find out mean value. So this is your simple formula. Here x bar is nothing but your arithmetic mean of y series, and standard deviation sigma y is nothing but standard deviation of y series. So same thing which is applicable for, so even the regression equation for x on y, okay, first we are writing x. Here see, first y on x means we are I have specified y minus y bar. Here x on y, first time I have specified x minus x bar into coefficient value. Okay, standard deviation, here x is there, that's what we are written in the numerator, and denominator we are writing standard deviation of y into y minus y bar. Okay, how we are getting y? From the summation from the y series divided by, if you try to calculate mean value from the y series. Okay, so here x bar is nothing but arithmetic from the y x series, and standard deviation of x series from the x series. So here pi is nothing but coefficient of correlation between x and y. Sometime in the question clearly they will specify. If they are not given, we need to find out. Okay. So the formula in the above equation, whatever they specified in this, okay, pi or coefficient value, standard deviation of y divided by standard deviation of x. So simply we can write, so here b y x. Okay, we have specified here. And here b in the basic equation of y on x, because we are doing for b on y on x, and symbolically we are representing b y x. Okay, the same thing applicable for y on x, but only change alphabets change. In the above equation, okay, the pi into standard deviation x divided by standard deviation y, because the y is last denominator, and numerator will first numerator standard deviation of x is a b in the basic equation of the x on the y is denoted by bxy. Okay, whatever they are asking, x on y, x is depend on y, now b is common, now x of y on means you are writing bxy. So the first one, okay, suppose y on x, so that means b, first you are writing b, y and x. So this is very simple to calculate. The formula is very clear. For this equation, regression coefficient, there is one questions to understand. Given the following information about the advertisement expenditure, lakhs, and sales in crores in company, okay, the tabular format is given. So advertisement expenditure we consider x, and sales is a y. Okay, and the mean also given x bar. Okay, for here it is a x bar and here it is a y bar. Okay, and the standard deviation symbolically for advertisement x, and sales we are writing symbolically y. The correlation coefficient, which is nothing but the pi value, okay, or gamma value, okay, which is given. Now you need to calculate the two regression equation with the whole information. We are trying to generate a two equation and find the likely sales when advertisement expenditure is 25 lakhs. Okay, now sales y is dependent on x. Y is dependent on x because I have specified advertisement is called for x and sales is considered for y. Now y is dependent because a advertisement value is given. Now next question, what should be the advertisement budget if the sales, the company want to have a sales? Now y is given, x, now x is depend on y in this case. In this case y is depend on x. Okay, now the two equation first we need to find out, then later on we need to substitute the value. Okay, and just I have specified, let advertisement is an x and sales is an x. There are two regression. The first question they are asking to find out, calculate the two regression equation. So first y on x, you know y on x and to or you can calculate x on y. First anyone, there is no procedure, so you can calculate any equation, first equation or second equation. So y on x means you are writing always y minus y bar. Y bar is given in the question and coefficient value also given. The standard deviation of y also given. Okay, the standard deviation x also given. Okay, now x, the x value which is completely x bar value. So here y is not given and x is not given. At the time of a second question, we will consider y or x based on the question. So substituting the value in the equation, whatever which is given. Now y bar is given in the question, y bar is given, okay, 120 is given, x bar is given 20, standard deviation of x is given 5, standard deviation of y is given 25. So we are just writing the value x bar plus 120 and coefficient value 0.8 is given and standard deviation of y also given 25 divided by standard deviation x is given. Okay, x minus and x bar value is 20 is given. So one by one if you simplify, first what we will do, we will divide this one. So for that reason I have written as it is equal sign. So 0.88 25 divided by 5 we are getting 5. If you multiply you are getting 4. So x minus 20, in this there is no calculation, now it is not possible, so later on we can calculate. So as it is I am writing this one. Now after getting, so multiply you are getting 4. So x minus 20 as it is I am written. So here also I have written same thing. Now I just want to multiply with these two. So 4 into x, 4x, 4 into minus sign, 4 into 20, 80 we are getting. So we need to find out y value. So that's what y have written equal. Okay, now here 4x minus 80 is there I have written. So which is a minus 20, 120 which is going for right side plus 20. So y as it is. So 4x plus, here see the sign is more. So 120 minus 80, if you subtract 40 we are getting. This is a y on x equation. Okay, till here we got equation. Okay, now considering the second question. Considering the second question, find the value when the advertisement x value is given 25 lakhs. If advertisement expenditure 25 lakhs is given, using the equation we are trying to substitute the same equation I have written one more time. So 25 lakhs I have written only for 2 digit. So which is the final answer which is there for in the crores. Y is equal to 4 as it is, x plus we know 25. If you multiply plus 40 as it is, if you multiply you are getting 100 plus 40, 140 crores in the sales. When the advertisement 25 lakh, the sales will be, you can expect for 140 crores. Moving to next equation. So same thing, here they specified regression equation x on y. X on y means which is completely starting from the x only. So x minus x bar is equal to a coefficient standard deviation x divided by standard deviation of y. So into a y minus y bar. So same thing, equation place we are writing the value x plus the 20 which is given in the question, 20 x bar, and coefficient value 0.8 is given, standard deviation 5 divided by 25, y is given, y bar is given 120, y is not given. So x minus 20 as it is we are doing, we are simplifying this one, 5 divided by 25, 0.25. Okay, and as it is we are writing y minus 120 and now this one also as it is I am writing. I just want to multiply. If I multiply, I am getting 0.16. So y minus 120 as it is I am writing. So what I will do, so the same thing I will carry. So I just want to multiply with this respected 2 value. So 0.16 into y, 0.16y, minus sign same. 0.16 into 120, we are getting 19.20. So I just want to find out x value. That's what I write. X is just I am removing open. So x is equal to, I copied this one, same thing, 0.16y minus 19.6. This minus sign, minus 20 will go for right side, which is a plus 20. So same thing, x need to simply subtract this one. So as it is, I am writing 0.16 y. So which is sign more, plus sign is more. If you from this 20, if you subtract, you are getting 0.6. So this is your equation. Okay, now which is nothing like this equation is x on y. X is depend on y. Okay, y is nothing but your sales. Now we can simplify, because the third question, what should be the advertisement budget if the company want to have a sales of 150 crores. Okay, that is a y value, sales value is given, sales value 150 crores you are expecting. So advertisement value you have to find out. So the equation, the same equation I have copied. So x place just advertisement per y place I have written 150. I just want to multiply this one. If I multiply, if I am getting 24. So adding together, we your advertisement expenditure will be 2418 lakhs. And regression coefficient, this method is convenient when pi value is given, standard deviation value is given, standard deviation x and y are given. So otherwise for computing them lot of time is required. Okay, the above one is called for direct method, which is a direct method. This can be further simplified or transfer the followings. Keep on watch for next section. Thank you.